Good afternoon, everybody. This is Grant Sparks of Spark Sites and
Nicole with HotMod.
And we are HotSpark.
There you go.
And we missed last week because was it last week we were at Sun and Fun? No,
2
weeks ago. We missed 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. We're back. We're back with the Hocking Adventure School Bus. No, I'm saying it wrong.
But we're back with the Hockings. That is their names. It's the Hockings. Actually, that's why. The Hocking Adventure Bus. Yeah.
I want to call them schoolies now. Just because I like that. I like that term.
It is, we'll confirm, but I'm pretty sure it technically is a schoolie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll ask them.
You know a lot more than you think you do. Yeah.
So we're super pumped to have them because they've kind of launched into, I saw their quote, they want to make a living simple, or they want to, did I say that right? We have it right there. Make a living out of living. Mm-hmm. And I actually really like that because in a lot of movements, there's people that are doing homesteading, there's people that are changing their careers, and you think of it as them like moving out into the boonies and that's it. But the RVers have constantly enlightened me that there's a whole other group of people that want to keep it nomadic and then want to get back to living a normal life. So I'm super pumped because they've also been able to raise 4 kids. Yeah. And then they've also been able to grow their following stupid. I think we're looking at like 240,000 followers or something like that on Instagram alone. And so moving closer and closer to this idea of making a living out of living. So I dig that. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's bring them up. Boom. Dun, 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 dun. And this are Jim and Cara Hocking. Thank you for being here, you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we were getting into some stuff here, and we were talking about you've been on the road 3 years, but then where were we going after that? We had a follow-up question.
We did. What was it?
And then we pattern interrupted it. Yeah. What were you guys doing before you hit the road?
So we've been on the road. It'll be 3 years in July. July 2021, we decided to sell our house, everything we owned, and we had bought this bus back in March of that year. And
it is, we do call it a schoolie, Grant.
Yes,
okay.
Yep.
The Hocking, so the Hocking Adventure Bus, but it's not the Hocking Adventure Schoolie Bus. That's going too far.
That would have been way too long.
That's going way too far.
So you guys bought the bus, and did you renovate it? Like, how did you know you wanted a schoolie versus like all these other options out there?
So I came across the idea. We had talked for years. We had an RV bash when our daughter was little. She's 15 now, and we talked about taking a trip and traveling, and then we just kept having more kids and it never happened. And as I started to do my research, I think it was on YouTube that I discovered this whole nother world of these converted school buses. And when you have a large family and you're trying to fit everybody and everything, into that vehicle, it just made the most sense. They have bunk beds and they're customizable. We wanted our kids to have their own space, solar power, water storage, off grid. And so that sparked my interest, and I just started investigating and reading and went down this whole rabbit hole and decided that that's what we wanted. So you can talk about how we ended up with the bus.
Yeah. We looked for a bus. So we decided we weren't going to have, we were actually at the time we decided to kind of do this. It was within COVID was going on. Yeah. I had gotten moved to remote work. We decided to homeschool our kids. So when that conversation kicked back up again, we're like, there's really nothing. We're actually sitting in the middle of Iowa in the winter, and we're like, why
are we here?
I love it.
Sitting inside. Jim's working up in what was my old photo studio. I was homeschooling the kids. So everything brought us to this. Why are we doing this here? We can do it anywhere. Timing was just right. Amaya was 12 at the time. We're having that midlife crisis of our kids are growing up and they're going to be out the door soon. And we were living that rat race of life with kids in sports and different locations, and Jim's flying for work, and life was crazy. So we started looking for buses. We wanted to convert our own, but we had just built a house, and we knew long builds take. And our daughter being 12, we feared if we took 2 years to build this bus, she's 14, that changes everything for us.
It does. Now she's in high school, and then it's like, you're in it.
Yep. So we started looking online. Every morning I was on searching for the right schoolie for sale. And at that time, they were a lot harder to come by. I feel like there's
definitely. I feel like there's always one in Marketplace now. It's like you can go there and anything has been converted. You could literally start your life tomorrow. You have $30,000. Yeah.
but that wasn't the situation,
Right.
4 years ago. And so one finally popped up. I woke Jim up 6 o'clock one morning and I'm like, oh my gosh, I found our bus. Like,
Oh my God.
Oh my God. This is it.
Yep, that was it. And so we made an offer on the bus, sight unseen that day. It was out in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Wow.
Jim and I, about a week later, we flew out to Salt Lake City, looked at the bus, and drove it back to Iowa. So
wow.
So it was like ready to go. You didn't have to renovate it, but maybe just put more of like your personal touch on it at that point.
Modeled it. That's what it was blue. It wasn't aesthetically what I loved,
Right.
So we spent 2 months versus 2 years making it feel like our house. We brought painted cabinets to white. We brought in art had in our house, changed the color scheme, just made it feel like our house.
Yeah.
So,
What were your kids saying or thinking in this? Because like I have a 12-year-old right now. He's about to turn 13. And if I was like, hey, we're going to be working on this school bus and then we're like going to leave town. And I don't even know, he would probably be like, let's go. But it would be like a weird idea for me to just kind of come out and say that. How did it go for you guys?
it was a challenge. We knew that our daughter was going to be the most difficult one to convince. The boys, they really didn't care. They're like, sure, let's go.
Yeah.
But she had friends and she was doing all of those things.
She had a softball team she was on that she had a lot of.
Oh, that's a close-knit community for sure.
Yeah. So we talked. I mean, we had talked about the idea for a while, so it wasn't brand new to them.
Right.
But when we saw the bus, we didn't want to miss that opportunity. So, I mean, we had a little family powwow and discussion of, can we do this? Everybody heard. And that goal, the initial conversation was that we would do this for 1 year. So we committed to 1 year with the kids. We got everybody's like, yes, okay.
Buy-in, yeah.
But it was still a little bit of a challenge. It took Amaya about 5 months to finally say, okay, I like this lifestyle. I don't
That was going to be my next question. Like, you must watch the trend, like the progress or not, like of all the emotions they go through as they're getting used to this new lifestyle, like kind of like letting go. What do they call it? Unschooling, where you kind of like have to think everything that's been programmed the past, your life. So about 5 or 6 months. That's good. That's good to know.
Yeah.
When did we made it a priority too. I mean, when we sold our house, the day we closed on our house, we drove up to a schoolie event in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, so that children could make connections right out of the bat.
Right.
We met a few great friends of ours and we traveled together. We met up in Yellowstone. We met up in Washington, Oregon, to travel with them. So we made connections early on, which was a big help for everybody.
Definitely. Because it's all about the friends. If you can just get them a couple key friends that they know they're in this with, it can make all the difference.
Yep.
So when did the content journey start?
What would you say?
So we were kind of sharing it just on Instagram just for fun, right? I think when we first took off in the bus, we put our name on the bus just again for fun, and we're all of a sudden, I don't know, just as we traveled, there was just so many people interested in what we were doing and asking questions, and we'd get messages. People passed us on the road, they'd stop us at the gas station, and we were kind of sharing just on Instagram like anybody does, not really trying to make a business out of it. And we talked. I was trying to work part-time for my old company, and we're just kind of that make a living out of living. We're like, what if we met some other families that were doing similar things? We're like, what if we could just travel and create content and make money off it? We could actually do this. We could do this forever if we wanted, or we can open our options to a lot of other things. So it was probably March of 2022. We started posting and like watching trends. We took a class to try to learn about finding what your niche is and consistently post a lot of the things that you guys coach on, right? Like
right. People at the beginning of their journey. Did you guys have any favorites of like who you were modeling after? Like maybe like initially like the first creators that you started to follow when you were doing your research that you found on YouTube that you like feel like definitely help influence you?
I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Bucket List family. That was a family that we had followed, that their life just looked awesome, right? Every time watched a lot of them on YouTube. There was another family, the Lost Bells, that was traveling full time. They were international, and then they came back and moved into a school bus. That's another one that we got inspiration.
Okay.
Actually, luckily, we met them like 3 weeks into our journey. They just showed up at a spot we were at, and we ended up becoming really good friends with them. So they helped us a lot. And then I don't know, you just we were on YouTube all the time watching a bunch of different things.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. I'm familiar with one of them. I haven't heard of the Bells, but there's so many now. I feel like at some point I'm like, oh, I know everybody. And then somebody will come along and I'm like, never, and they're huge. And I'm like, I've never heard of them. So that's why I always ask. I'm like, who can I follow and see who else is doing this? Because I mean, you guys came into town with a partnership with Visit Central Florida and like blew it out of the park. Like the photography, the engagement with this campaign, and it was just amazing. And they were really impressed. And I don't know, obviously you guys have come a long way, but you have a photography background. Is that correct? Did that help with you, with your content?
Yeah, so everything I feel like has worked out in this full circle of, so I had a photography business that I started when Amaya was small. So I did newborn children, family photography. Mm-hmm. And then Jim was in sales. So he had a sales background. Perfect. So now I'm the content creator. I'm the one that's doing the photography, has the visual eye. And Jim's new job is to essentially sell our family. So instead of
very cool
with selling, he's the one that takes care of, the communication, reaching out to brands and the partnerships, and I do the social media side of things. So it just kind of all works together. For us, yes.
Those are great skill sets to have when you get into this, because you obviously realize real quick it's a business. Like somebody needs a role in the organization.
Yep.
Is it full time now? Has it replaced your income?
Yeah, so that's kind of like, so oddly enough, about the time we were talking earlier this year, Nicole, I was talking about going back to my old job and just trying to we were kind of doing some social media, but we got help. Like we had some family things come up last fall that like we stopped doing it for a little while. And we were kind of just like at this crossroads of what do we do? Should I get a job? Should we? And ultimately, like we decided, you know what, let's just go all in on this and see what can happen. And if I can put the amount of time I would have put into my job, into our family and building our brand, like what can happen. So since then, it's really taken off for us, and we've got a lot of opportunities working now. It's a lot of work. That's one thing we're realizing is we do still want to, the whole goal that we did this to begin with was to spend more time together as a family and to adventure. We don't want to do that, but we're also now as busy as we want to be with the social media stuff. So yes, it's replaced our income. It's different. It's fun. It's challenging. We still have a lot to learn. And there's so many different ways you can make money and do things. So you just we're still trying to prioritize what it is that we really want to do and how much time we want to spend on it. But yes, it's our new career. So,
yeah.
So in terms of like the paid collabs, I mean, I see that you have like affiliate links and those probably do decently for you, but I have to imagine that, again, without getting into the numbers, I have to imagine that like paid collabs probably does the most for you guys. And correct me if I'm wrong, please, on that as well. What do you think? We talk to a lot of creators and they have a family, they're on the road, but they can't seem to close paid collabs or they always get negotiated down. What do you think is kind of the key turning point for you where you weren't only getting paid collabs, but they were paying decently what you feel like you were worth and you were closing better and better deals? Was there like a turning point or a certain system that you deployed or a certain word phrase? Like, is there like a key thing that has really paid off for you from that regard?
Well, I would say a few with that. One is our initial focus right away was to grow our following. And we felt like growing our following, if we can do that first, then we can ask and we can back up when we're coming for the money. So initially, we were taking, even when we had 100,000 followers, we were taking free gigs and people would want to send us stuff. And I think that's the challenge that a lot of creators have is everybody wants to send you stuff and they want something for free. Will you create a reel? Will you create this and share this? And for us, I think it's just now it's sticking to our values and knowing that we've got some companies, paying us very good money to do this, and we have to stick to our guns and not take those other partnerships when they're not wanting to pay us, because we can't we can't over bombard our page all the time with sponsored posts. So we have to focus on those companies that are willing to pay. And if they're not pay, unfortunately, you know, we're probably not going to work with them. That's just something we feel like we're at now. We've had enough paid sponsorships that we no longer have to take the free products just to build our portfolio. So
how long was that timeline though? How long did it take you to get to the point where you drew the line in the sand?
So
a while.
Yeah, no, we went, I mean, because at first it's cool to get free stuff, right? Like, you feel fun, like we got some cool products, we promoted it, we had a good time with it, but then it was like, yeah, we can't, you know, this specific product can't pay our bills, right? It can't pay for our fuel and our camping costs and our food and all that. So,
I mean, really, when he decided not to go back to work, I mean, even with months has been our like, okay, this is a business now, you know, we're like a business. And as cool as that product is, first of all, we live in a bus, so we can't take all of this free stuff, right? You know, so we try to really stick to things though that we use. I mean, we're authentic in, you know, our travels, and everything really fits. We love to travel. We want to share these places with people. Tourism boards have come in. That's authentic that we're at these events and we're having a great time and we're sharing those things. And then we reach out to companies that we're already using their product.
That makes sense.
So it's something that we love and want to promote versus, I mean, sometimes we'll get reached out to, but we always make sure that it's a fit for us.
Yeah. It seems to come to like, there's a decision that's made, you know, it's like, you got to take free product in the beginning. Well, you should, it helps build your portfolio and your experience. And then you get to the point you're like, all right, we've done enough. We can ask for cash now, for compensation now. So,
and was that turning point a conversation you had around, hey, our numbers are big enough, or hey, our experience is vast enough, or hey, I'm just sick of getting trade deals and we need to start asking for money. So an internal shift of a sense of worth. Like, what element was the strongest element when you guys decided we're going to really get paid here?
Oh man, I mean, it's all of those. It really, I would say you deciding not to go back to work was our like, now we need the finances, right? Like now it's time to go on the road for 3 years and we need the financial side of this. And with that, we have everything to back it up now. We have, you know, we're getting more stuff than we can necessarily keep up with. I think there's a there when you're like, I mean, we get to the point we're overwhelmed with things that we're trying to work on. So you can't more. So everything just really links together and that now is the time. We've got the following, we have the experience, we've worked with a ton of different brands, and we need the financial side of it now. So I mean,
all come together. Yeah.
When you've seen other creators, I'm sure like any entrepreneur, you look at perceived competitors or other people in your space. Where do you see a lot of creators thinking about this whole journey wrong? What are they missing that you've learned that you think really serves you, that you wish that they would be running with? What ideas or principles or even business frameworks? I don't know. Where are they missing it?
Oh gosh. I mean,
I would say, like, when I just think about ourselves and what's helped us, and I'm not saying this is where they're missing, but I think this is where we have like had successes. So we've kind of just embraced what we are a little bit. So like what people are interested in, not like, we love to adventure and that's what we want. And that is still what we do and what we're targeting on. But we also live in a bus, and people, for some reason, that's what a lot of people are interested in. They want to know, how the heck do you guys live in a bus? So so when we kind of were thinking about what is our niche, we're like, you know, we have to include the fact that we live in a bus with all our content, because that's what kind of makes us a little more unique, I think. And our kids, like there's a lot of families that travel, but if you really look at it, this is what we saw anyway, there's not a ton of families doing content creation as a family.
Right.
They're out there, but there's not as many of them. If you look, there's a lot of couples, a lot of people, but like we thought that could be us. There's no reason that we can't do that. Our kids like being on camera. They like the adventure free stuff, right? They are, you know, they like all that, right? They like to be able to go to like the air shows, and so they're willing to jump on camera and do some things for us because sure. They get to have.
I think it's capitalizing on what makes you unique. You know, for us, we have to know that living in a bus makes us unique. So our bus, anytime we can use our bus in our content, we are going to do that because that draws. You know, if we're shooting a reel or we're shooting content, we're thinking about how do we involve our bus in this? How do we involve our kids in this? This is what makes us unique. You know,
leaning into that. Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to think of families, and it's like it seems like it's either like the mom does it and the husband doesn't really want to be in content, so they kind of hang out, or they're not in at all, and the kids are random. So it's not their unique thing, but it could be, because there's always like this seems to be like a more of a separation with that.
Well, and I don't know. It's interesting you call it out. It doesn't even matter what the shtick is. I think it's the taking ownership of it. Because like we know a gal, Kat, who she's setting out on, it was like a 3,200 mile trip, give or take.
And a travel, in a truck camper, or like, no, a van.
A van, like a Sprinter converted van. She's got 4 kids. And her husband works a full-time job, but he's grounded. And I wouldn't say they're part-time travelers. They travel a lot, but they're not full-time RV lifers, right? So he supports her, and he's not on camera. He's not the camera guy, but she owns that she's a solo traveler. She's not a single mom. That's not the case. They're married happily, but she's a solo mom. And so she owned that. And then there's another group I'm thinking of. They have some unique things about them. In fact, it's even in their handle. One of the people in their family has a medical issue, and their handle is around this. But sometimes they struggle to close deals because they've recently told us that they no longer want to make it about that because
You're talking about type 1 detour? Okay.
And they don't want to make it about that. And it's like, I wonder, well, should you own that? Because people want to know, like, how do I live on the road, in this case, with a specific medical condition? Right. You know, because that limits a lot of people from spending more time on the road because of their fears. I got to be so close to a hospital and this, that, or the other. So I think it's just I think it's the ability to see what's unique about you, and then the ability to own it.
Yeah.
Do you think that took you a while to figure out, or you guys both just kind of knew right away?
I mean, I think early on we knew that the first thing people were interested in is how do we live in a bus with this many children, right? Yeah. Like, how do you not have a house anymore? You know, just from the questions that we get from people and the comments we get from people, that's what people are most interested in. Able to draw on the fact that we're visiting places. And so now we have people that are not only, you know, they're interested in this bus life, but also where are you going to take us? You know, people are living literally through us. And so we get messages, we get questions. So I think it's, you know, always drawing on, okay, what are the most common questions we're getting? What are people the most interested in? And trying those things.
I don't know if you guys are with the book called They Ask You Answer out there.
No, I'm going to write it down. They Ask You Answer? That's a book?
By Marcus Sheridan. He came and spoke to my company a couple years ago, but essentially what he did was he decided, all these people are asking me questions all the time. I'm just going to start answering them on my website. I'm going to start answering my content. The reality is that about 80% of the people have the same exact questions. And we found that someone comes up to us and they start asking us the questions. They're usually the same thing. Like, did you do the conversion yourself? How do you do it? What do you do to make money? Those
What's
are
your
like
favorite state?
Like there's we're like, let's just answer them. Then everybody has the answer, right? So it's an interesting way to think about it when it comes from a business perspective, because this guy talks about like pricing and that kind of stuff. Like, we're just going to answer that because a lot of people try to hide that. And that's
just get it out there. You're gonna have to answer it anyway. We design our info products when we're coaching. We're like, what kind of questions are in your DMs all the time? Like the same questions keep coming in. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and design and put your info product around that, because then you can just click. Here's my resource, and it's just a way for you to like be able to serve and respond quickly, but not like kill your time. You know, so like that's like our first go-to. Like, what are people asking you about? Because you probably answered the same question 20 times, and like you could put that in a digital download and then make it a resource, and hopefully, at some point sell digital products or something, have it lead to something else. So I know you guys were kind of talking about that too, like how now thinking about how do you serve your community and also sell digital products or coaching and kind of getting into that world. Are you guys still considering that?
Absolutely. I think that's always been our goal. I think our biggest struggle always is time, right? Like we have all these ideas and we've got lists of things that we want to do, but it's finding the time because we still want to adventure and we're still doing these things. And so always, I mean, it was in our old life in a house and it still is on the road, you know, we're still busy. We're not
absolutely
and hanging out
and creating all that content, like you know, and the reel covers and all that stuff is gonna take your time. I was really curious about your growth and like we ask all of our guests, like, was there a viral video that really shot your following up?
We've had a couple. I mean, right on very beginning, we had one the shot of our dog.
Yeah, it was weird because the first one really wasn't even much about. We just got this new dog and he was laying all weird. We took a video of it and it
was in our bed in the back of the bus, right? And that went. So I think that was that aha moment of, okay, this is how this works, you know. And then you get another one that comes along, and then that one goes viral, and then you see another boost. Last year, on the way to the Keys, that was a big one. We did a walkthrough of the bus on the way to the Keys. That went viral. We did a very similar one this year going down to the Keys, and that one went viral and gave us another huge boost. So
that was while you guys were driving, right? And it was like you could see the scenery going by. Yeah. I feel like that was really viral on YouTube Shorts, or I feel like I saw it on YouTube Shorts. Do you get like really good performance over on YouTube? With your shorts or TikTok, or what's your like, where are you going viral?
Facebook and Instagram are the most common. Our Facebook actually has outgrown our Instagram at the moment.
I just saw that, and they looked like they were neck and neck, and it's like 249,000 now to 246 or whatever. That's interesting.
Yeah. But those two have been, and we didn't do Facebook right away, and we didn't do YouTube Shorts right away, but then, you know, we thought, why would we not? We're creating the content. We might as well start cross-posting those. And then, you know, it's always weird to watch. And sometimes one will do good on one platform and not another platform. But Facebook and Instagram, they might be at different times, but it seems like very similar on what content does well. So,
So is there a formula to a piece of content that takes off, or is it just quantity and volume of posting?
Oh.
Right.
A hard one, because I think the way that we think about it is we're going to consistently post, right? And this is what everyone tells us. Post whatever you do, just make it consistent. So we kind of landed on, we try to not kill ourselves. We try to post once every other day. So we're not popping out 5 reels a day like some people are. We're just going to be consistent with, you know, every other day we try to post something.
And I would say along with that, our focus has always been on quality over quantity. That was one of our philosophies is, you know, when we put a reel together, we put a lot of work into a reel. It's not usually a one clip quote. It's not, you know, it's something we are taking a whole adventure and we're putting that together, and we spend hours on these reels and this content. So for us, I enjoy having that. You know, some people are like, oh, this is just a job, and then you don't enjoy it. But for us, those memories and those stories that we're putting together as our family and with our kids is something that we're never going to regret.
It's like a bunch of home videos, right, that we can watch hopefully.
Right.
Yes.
So documenting their childhood and your life together. Yeah.
Almost mini vlogs of really putting together. But we also know those 25-second reels of, you know, going to a spring, most likely those are not going to be viral. It's going to be the 7-second clip that's walking to the bus. That's the one that's going to be viral. So there is some, like, I mean, we know to a certain degree, there's guesswork into which reels. We know which performs best. I study the analytics. I look and say, okay, you know, these will consistently get good views, but it's probably not going to go viral. But then there's an outlier, like Jenny Springs last year went viral on, you know, multiple platforms. We work with boat boards. It went viral on their platform. So,
Well, I always say like the viral content is like when you're fishing and like you bring them in and then they binge on your content. And so you have to have good content for them to want to binge and to stick around. So, the viral is really just those hands reaching out and pulling him in, which is why YouTube Shorts works so good too. Like no one will see so much of the content on YouTube, and Shorts has really been helped a lot of creators grow their channels. So, that is how I felt with like your Visit Central Florida, and like when you did post your reel, it was like a mini movie versus like just a reel. To
like
me,
the
I
Sun
felt
and
like,
Fun, like the Sun and Fun one. I'm looking at it. That says Sun and Fun 2024 with the thumbnail of the air balloons, and I mean, there's a ton of shots, and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, anyone can open up CapCut and do a montage, but your capture. The content you're capturing's got a really good eye. So, I mean, Cara, how long were you doing photography or videography before this? Like, I mean, you have a really good eye.
Yeah.
So I started when Amaya was a baby. She's 15 now.
Okay.
So
this is, you have mastery over the look.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that design,
I
know what shot I'm trying to capture. I mean, video's different than photo, but it's not, right? So yeah, I just always, my family will tell you, I am a perfectionist and I know what shot I'm trying to get.
Oh God.
I wish I was like that. I'm like, I hope this shot works later.
No, I think and overshoot because I know exactly what I want, and then I know what I'm looking for as I put those video clips together. It's very thought through, and even down to the music and what clip is showing when, and I just really think all of that.
Yeah. And I'm
go ahead, Jim.
I just said, and I'm untrainable. I'm terrible at it. Like I'm
untrainable. You have sales. You're running you're the operations, my friend. That's fine. She's the visionary. That's why it works.
And I just have accepted the fact that, I'll do it if I have to, but like she knows. And we use tripod a lot of times too, just because we can set it in the, like right now we're on a tripod. We can set it where we need it. And then we can just do what we need to do, right? And if we have to let the video roll for 5 minutes while we do 20 different takes and figure out getting the kids all lined up and settled down, and
like you guys running into the Sun and Fun, and that's all of you, and it's like it's awesome. It's like, here, take me in, and then everything from there. Yeah, I love it.
And so like for example, and this is a question to you, Cara. I'm looking at the Johnny Pops video, and it's a montage jump cut of the kids jumping in the beach. You're familiar with it. Did you plan that one out, or did you capture the Johnny Pop footage and then go back through your footage to find this, or did you plan the whole thing?
Planned mostly, with some unexpected, obstacles along the way. We try to plan out, but there's times you can't plan. I would say like a Johnny Pop or a content like that, when we know what we're going after, it's easier to plan. But if we're going to Silver Springs paddleboarding, right? You don't know what you're going to embark on. If we've never been to a place, sometimes it's difficult. You don't know what you're going to encounter. Sun and Fun. We've never been to an air show. So I feel like next year we'll be experts compared to this year because we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know all the activities that are going on, and you don't know what's going to pop up. But yeah, like at jobs, I will write out, okay, here's the shots that we want to get. And then we try to get those, and then there's always twists and turns and things that happen along the way. But
it's phenomenal. You guys have some good chemistry, man. So okay, what's next for the Hockings, man? I mean, you guys actually seem like you've got a super tight sales system. You seem like you got a super tight content system, which is like the two pistons of what you guys are trying to do. Like, what's next?
Keep rolling. I don't know. We're going to be back in Iowa for a little bit. We have to deal with some family stuff. So we'll have a couple months that we'll be just slowing down and hopefully getting some content out. And we've got some things working that we need to do. But after that, we're planning to head west, which is going to be, we haven't done that since early on in our journey. So we feel like we're a lot more seasoned that way. We've talked potential of YouTube doing full long-on adventures and sharing our content. I mean, just
that's
from,
what the
I just feel like share more, like for people, for our followers, but also for us as a family, because some of the adventures that we go on, I mean, that's a big part of what we do is adventuring and traveling. I want to really capture those and share those because they are fun. We have fun and such cool stuff. And that little 25-second video doesn't capture everything that I want to. So again, time is our biggest issue, but we would really love to figure out a system and get YouTube going in the next, really when we take off and head west would be the goal.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Any sneak peek into some of you said you were working on some info products, or at least that was a desire. Do you have anything tangible you're working towards?
Yes, we've got so many ideas. That's the problem. Yes, I mean, lots of stuff related to Florida. We've spent the last 2 winters in Florida, and we fell in love with Florida. You know, we really didn't expect it coming in. We had been tourists there in the past and done kind of the typical Florida, going to the beach and going to, you know, the theme parks. But we found this whole other side of Florida that we have loved and enjoyed. And I think there's a lot, you know, where to stay there, things to do, springs, all the things. So
that sounds like a good YouTube episode to start off with. Like, yeah.
Too, and she's really good at it, which hopefully we can do this at some point. But just downsizing our life, how we went from a 4,500 square foot house to, right? I don't have the organized mind like she does. Like she everything, like if you look at our bus, everything's got a place, and it even though it's only 270 square feet, it's like we have everything we need and it just works. And like that's another thing I'm always interested in is how do you do this, right? So like that's something I think we should do at, you know, when we have time.
Definitely. When you have time, definitely though.
Yeah, when you have time. That's too funny. Where can people follow y'all?
So Instagram, the Hocking Adventure Bus, Facebook, Hocking Adventure Bus, YouTube Shorts, and TikTok. So all of them are the Hocking Adventure Bus.
Great.
We do have a website, work in progress. Be another project that we'll continue to work on in the next couple months. But we tell people out anytime. We really do try to get back to people and help people, and we get tons and tons of messages, but we love connecting with people and trying to help where we can.
I love it. We'll put all of your links in the show notes, of course. Your website's thehockingadventures.com. I can't thank you enough for sharing some of your secrets, guys. I really appreciate it. Stick around. We're going to wrap up. We'll be right back with you.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. So what did you learn? What's your takeaway? They're open books.
I know. I love that. And I think they have a lot of value to offer, like up and coming and creator, that side of like getting started. And then that point where you go, I need to get paid is really such a decision that you make, especially with your partner. And I was really impressed with their partnership. I love that they have 2 different strengths and they've learned how to make the most of that in their business. So I love that.
I think in all the interviews we've done here and in all the business coaching I've ever done, I'm starting to learn, and then all the content we ourselves have put out, and then all the content all our interviewees and all of the influencers and creators have put out, I think what I'm learning is that it's become cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. That authenticity is super important, but I think over the coming few seasons, I want us to explore what that means, like the ability to see it and own it and love, and then the product that comes out of that, the content that comes out of that, the authenticity, the info products that come out of that. It seems like it draws like a following, an audience, it attracts, and then the brands can sense it. I think there's some intangible attraction that does with brands when you have a very clearly defined thing like that. And it's not just niche. It's this thing called authenticity that I think that there's something to that.
You're leaning into who you really are and recognizing your, like for them, this bus is more than just a bus, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a family thing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thanks so much for checking in. We'll watch for the replay. Next week, we're going to start skipping weeks, but the caveat is next week we have Carolyn Robertson. Miss Lakeland. She's phenomenal. She's got a great following. She's written 7 books and a mother of 4.
434,000 YouTube subscribers, which was
gotta check in on how that growth
like you're just
works.
Casually walking around here with almost 1 million followers.
So thanks so much for stopping by. Check back again